We are back at it again today with the garage build, and today is detailing day, meaning that we are going to be getting this build completely finished. The first thing we're going to do is tiling. I think tiling is really going to give us a lot of inspiration because it's going to fill in all of these studs and it's going to make it look more like, well, a garage. So that's going to be the first thing that we are going to attack. So let's get to it. Phase one is now complete when it comes to the tiling of the garage and giving it that dark asphalt look. I really enjoy how the white lines are popping off of that darker tile, especially here where we have our printed pieces. Those are popping along with these as well. So that phase is now complete. The next thing that I'm going to be working on is going to be this area right here where you can park your bikes, your electric scooters, and maybe even a nice little sitting area for while you're waiting for friends and family to make it to the garage. But before we get to that, I'm going to go ahead and pass the camera over to Michelle so that she can show you all the changes that she needed to make to the green space in the city center, the one that just basically connects this to the top. So there you go, Michelle. Take it away.
So let's take a look at the modifications that I needed to make to my actual build here at the very top of our city center. If you recall, I built out this little greenery area with this nice little tree and this cute little pretzel shop. Now, because of the movement of the garage entrance, I did need to make some slight changes with my build. And what I had to do, I needed to actually move the build down the base plate about 12 studs. And the reason for that is so that we can fit now the elevators here at the very back of the actual area. And then here at the very front, I turn around and actually built out the base plate to now have the same type of kind of walkway setup as the rest of our actual city center, as you can see there. I replicated kind of like that same tiling. I also replicated the actual flower bed in the center. And then previously, right here is where I actually had my drink shop. And if you'll notice now, I actually did end up moving that here to the very end, but at the very front. So now we've got our minifig here. She's an employee at the Lego store, and she's actually taken kind of like her quick lunch break to go grab herself something cool and refreshing. And then this guy over here, he is about to make his way over here to the pretzel stand to get himself a nice warm pretzel. Another change that I also decided to make because I wanted to add a bit more pop of color is in regards to our flower bed. So here in the flower bed, if you recall from one of our PAB hauls, we were able to find that bright yellow sunflower. And what I decided to do is kind of put a sunflower in each of the flower beds to just, again, bring another pop of color. So you can see I actually replicated that across all of the flower beds here at the very top of our city center. And I think that pop of yellow is really cool. And so I'm kind of glad I made that change.
And this area right here is done. So let's go through the details. So you can see that we have two different benches, one right here, one on the far side. I like the color combinations, dark brown at the bottom, then that nougat on the top. That just goes really well, especially with the brown of the pots where these two flower arrangements are at. Went ahead and used those really cool leaves that we got a ton of on the wall, and then added a nice pop of yellow color with the flowers, and I think it really ties that in together, and it's just a really nice pop. So that brown tied into the brown of the benches. Now we went with the sand blue ingot tiling. The reason why we did that is because we have a ton and we're trying to use those. We found them on the wall and we ended up getting a lot of the ingots in sand blue. We also went with the herringbone tile pattern. Really like the way that that looks, especially when using ingots. They just, I don't know, it just has a really nice look to it and texture. Now if we go a little bit further over here, this right here is going to be Some places have it, some places don't have it, but this is where you would actually prepay for your ticket to then leave the parking garage. We have them here in the United States. Not all of the parking garages have this, but we have been in quite a few that do have this pre-purchase. You just go ahead and pay, and as you approach the exit, the bar automatically comes up because it reads your license plates and ties it to the ticket that you just paid for, and so on and so forth. So that came out really nice. Like it. Try to see if I can get a better picture of it. If not, I'll take some pictures of some of these things up close so then we can go ahead and put in some B-roll. Now, we did make some changes. I went ahead and extended this all the way over to here, to the very first parking spot. And this area right here is a no parking zone, no loading zone, all of that good stuff. Also, went ahead and I thought I was going to be putting the bike rack somewhere over here. Decided not to do that. We extended this walkway all the way over to here. And this is where the bike racks are going to be. You'll get a better shot of this when we flip the building around and talk about the stuff that we're going to be building on this side right here. But yes, so bikes will be tied up right here. We have a little bike chain connecting this to that. I thought that was perfect. But yeah, so bikes go here, then people can walk across and then get to the elevators. So it has detail, has nice pops of color, but it's not overly done. And that's how me and Michelle like to build. We just don't want to have it overly done. Now, the other thing is, I'm not sure that I mentioned this before. I went ahead and fully built this out. Okay, so one of the things when it comes to now having all of this built on a base plate and then a brick and then a normal plate is that it's going to throw off how the top is going to be. So there's either two things that we can do. Either we tile it off like this, or we end up putting another plate which would then leave exposed studs. And so I feel like this is just way better. Now, there is going to be a little bit of a distance between this and the very top of the city center. But, I would rather have it tiled. It just looks better that way. So we're going to go ahead and go in that direction. But yeah, I think this came out fantastic. And the parts just keep piling up the more building that we continue to do. All right, now, next thing we're going to do is tackle the elevator area, this middle area right here. And I have something pretty cool planned for along this path right here. Super excited about that. So let's jump to that. Okay, we can go ahead and put a check mark in the box for the elevators because they are now completed. So the first thing we're going to do is take a look inside of the elevator. We went ahead and added two pictures because, sometimes when you go into elevators, they have that, picture hanging on the wall. But also when it comes to the tiling, now it's very difficult to get a camera in there because it's so small. So what we're going to do is just take some B-roll pictures and talk about it. So we went with the 1x1 sand blue tile, and then we went with the kind of the sand or wet sand colored tile as well. It's a very simple tiling. We ended up getting like 1,000 of these sand blue 1x1s on the pick a brick wall. So now we're trying to implement them wherever we can, and I really do enjoy the color. I think it pops really well, basically off of anything. Now moving around to the front, we have the exact same thing here. We have the 1x1 sand blue as well as the wet sand tile. I don't know what that color is going to be. To me, it's just like a darker brown or a darker tan. Again, same exact thing. They pop really well off of each other. We went ahead and added the lanterns in the front to light the area up on both sides. You can see them right there and right there as well. Now backing up and going a little to the left, we have our recycling trash bin and then our trash bin. Those are indeed printed pieces. They're UV printed pieces, so they look great. I just got these pictures off the interwebs, so it is what it is but that. Then going over here, we have a little bit of pop of color and some greenery in here. We used the nougat masonry bricks, and then we have the flower color of choice and just some green to just add, again, some more pop and some more color. And I think it's a great little ad there. Yes, this is a garage, but that doesn't mean that they're not getting sunlight from outside. And then also on top of that, a watering system and all that great stuff to keep these plants alive. But yeah, I think they look really nice. Now, as we back away, I have no idea how to pronounce this name of this right here, so we're just going to go ahead and go with it. It's like a ballister, and what they are is basically a object to prevent cars from being able to, end up colliding with pedestrians. As cars are going by here, this just helps to add a little bit of protection. They're like pylons. I don't know what the proper name for it is. It's like something with a B, baluster. So, anyways, that is what we have here, and they are in gray. I would have liked to possibly get a different color when it comes to that. Uh, but that being said, gray is really the only color that we had. I would have probably liked to do that in black. And just to highlight how we built this, let me get the parts that I can go ahead and show you. Now, these are the pieces that we used to create those. It's very simple. It's up to you what color you do or do not have. The 1x1 circle tile, you have your one stud Technic piece. You have also the Technic, I'm going to call it a barrel. I'm not exactly sure what the name of that is. And then you have whatever color translucent clear piece or translucent orange or translucent yellow, whatever color you want to use, and they simply just snap together, and then you just need a single stud placed to go ahead and pop this down. But it's very simple, but it looks really nice in my opinion. So I think those came out fantastic. That pop of the translucent orange color, and then it just adds enough detail, something that you would see in a real world parking garage. Now that's going to be it for the elevators. Next is going to end up being the walls. And we have a couple of things that we're going to be adding to the walls that are going to look really nice. And what is this over here? We still haven't built that yet, but we're going to be building it right now. All right, yeah, it still looks like an absolute war zone. We're going to continue to push on. Let's get to these walls. Okay, walls are done, but we kind of had to go a little bit beyond just doing the walls because there was a lot of things that were tied into the walls that needed to be built around with the walls. So we pretty much got the build completely finished. So let's start off on this left side. We have some masonry brick here for a little bit of detail. We built in the pillars, and then we have our lighting. Same lighting that we had before in the other build. We really liked the way that it looked. And then you have your caution signs. And these are going to be on every single pillar because, well, you don't want your minifigs to be driving into the pillars. So as we move a little bit further down, same exact thing here as well. Now the new thing that we added to this build that we did not have in the old one is going to be an area for the maintenance crews in the garage to work on the things that they need to work on and possibly turn power off if need be, whatever that case is. So we have the 3 lines coming in, and then you have your huge breaker because you're going to need quite a large breaker to be charging EVs and all that good stuff. And that part right there in the far left corner is a printed piece along with just some other pieces that Lego produces that are also printed. So we UV printed that far left like power emergency sign that's right there. And then of course we have the rest of the areas. Now, I just saw right now that I did not add any handles to turn power off, but you know what? There's a lot of electronics here that you can turn power off, but maybe we should put a main breaker line right here to then completely shut it off just in case these things fail. You never know. Having a backup is always a good thing. Now we go a little bit over to the right hand side. We're going to have our first EV charger. And again, this is also something new. We added the line bringing in the power. Just a little more detail to emphasize like the build overall and just kind of give it a little more character. Now I am missing the sign that said EV parking. I don't know where this sign went. I I've seen it, I just don't know where it has disappeared to. It's probably in some of the pieces, so I'm gonna have to go and fish it out somewhere. Now we still have this sign right here, so I think that's pretty good. So move a little bit move a little bit further to the right, same exact thing here. We have our EV sign. Then we have the UV printed piece, which is our UV printed piece, the UV printed piece that shows off that this is an EV parking. There we go. Jesus, there's a lot of EV UV there. So here's that piece right there. And then again, we have some really nice masonry brick work that adds some nice detail. Ooh, that light is a little crooked. Okay, this light is a smidge crooked. There we go. Straighten it up. Same exact light. Then we have another repeat of that EV charger with the line coming in as well. So that looks really good. Now, as we move a little bit further to the right, we have our bike parking, and I went ahead and printed this little sign right there that this was indicated for bike parking and bike parking only. Now, I'm going to try to see if I can cover this because this is going to be something that we'll be showing off here in just a little bit. Now, we have the machine that issues the ticket as you come in. And then we have the barriers there that blocks the traffic from leaving, making sure that you pay the toll. Now, there is no machine checking the ticket as you leave. That camera that is right there on top with the red lens, I thought that was funny. Basically, is going to check your license plate, then the poll will open up after you've paid. All that stuff's tied together. We've seen this before, and it's just very efficient and cool. Okay, now this that we got to show off right here. We had this idea and we finally were able to bring it to fruition. We wanted to do something like this in the Garage Build 1.0, but we were unable to do it because at that point we did not have some of the things that we needed, and the UV printer was still really, really new, and we had no idea how to use that thing. So we didn't want to tackle something so large, but now we did. And so that is the city center. So I thought this came out fantastic. It just adds a nice detail as you are entering the garage. You see the city center, and that, by the way, is a picture of the actual city center as it looks right now. I think this came out great. I really like the lettering that we chose because it adds a little bit of spice. It almost looks like graffiti, but not quite graffiti. We've seen this before when we have visited parking garages that is basically telling you where you are visiting. It is you're going to the city center or downtown or whatever, and there are pictures of the landscape or the skyscrapers, and so they're on the wall. And behind it is indeed masonry brick as well. This is the reason why we did not print this earlier, because before I made any of the videos of can we or can't we print on this or that, we had never printed on masonry before. So then we figured out during those shorts that we could, and then now we have this as well. And it's very detailed. I'm going to see if I can get a really good clear picture of it, but it came out really nice. So now the walls are built all the way to the top and everything is tiled off. Now, we did have an issue because of the new way that we built Garage 2.0. It's either we're going to have to deal with two different things. Either we leave everything with studs on top, which I'm not really a fan of, or we tile it, but it doesn't reach all the way to the top. We feel that number one, it's not worth wasting parts just to make it all the way to the top. But looking into the garage or from the back, as long as it looks like it goes all the way to the top, it gives you that impression that it does. That's good enough. And so that's how we're going to leave it. And I just saw here that I did not tile this right here. So I still need to tile this. But Garage 2.0 is done, and in my opinion, this is thus far the best MOC that I have ever made. I am very proud of this MOC. It was so much fun putting it together. There were some times that it did get a little bit overwhelming because of all the ideas that I had, and I didn't know if I could even pull it off because whether we had the parts or not is one of those things now. I did leave all of this untiled and not bricked because I wanted to show it off. I am going to put like a chair in there and all that good stuff. But I will be closing this area off, but I'm going to leave the top open so you can still peer down into the room and still see all the stuff that we have built right there. So that is still going to be something. It's just, I wanted to show it off. Now, the last thing that we don't know how we're going to do this, and I think we may end up leaving it out, and that's the reason why these two areas right here aren't tiled, and that is the physical driver with disability parking sign. So this is basically how it would look. It would be facing this way, and you're just going to see the studs. I don't have an issue with it, but if you can't fully see it, I don't know if it needs to be included. Maybe we print another one and put one facing the towards the camera and then one facing that direction. I don't quite know what direction to go with that. We still have the drivers with disability sign on the parking spaces themselves. I kind of feel like that is enough, because this just kind of floating there may throw the build off. You're never really ever going to be able to see it unless you flip the build around. But in the position that it's going to be, you're never going to be able to see that sign. So that might just kind of stay out like that. But the elevators are completed. The waiting area is completed. Everything is tiled off the way that it needs to be tiled off. Yeah, Garage 2.0 is now done. So now we're going to go ahead and pick this bad boy up, which it's so much easier because it is mills plated, and we're going to be transporting this over to the city. And here is a shot from the main overview. I totally forgot. I did not put any minifigs in here. So let me place the minifigs first, and then we'll transport this over to the area where it's going to be implemented, the garage area. So let's put some minifigs first. Now the build is done. I don't know how I was going to walk away without putting minifigs in the scenes like they were before. I don't know what I was thinking. This build has been a little bit of a beast to put together and to figure everything out, but it's come along so well. All right, so we have Gary, our maintenance guy, who is about to change the light out on this lamp because that light has actually gone out. And he wanted to make sure that he was being very safe by putting up cones and having his ladder fully extended the correct way. Now we shift a little bit over to the right, and we have Stan and his brand new electric car that he is now charging currently. He's excited about it. He's so excited about it, he has the same matching clothes as the car. It's his first electric car, and it's, kind of a sleek looking car there. So he's very happy about that. Now we come over here to Owen and his mom, Karen. Not that type of Karen. Owen is going to get this poster signed by his favorite pirate character in one of the best movies of all time that was created, in his opinion. And so he's wanting to get the signature, the autograph on that. And Karen is happily taking him to where the meeting is going to be at. Now, if we shift a little bit over to the side here, we can see, get a good picture. We have Glenn and his daughter Maya. Now, Glenn and Maya are going to a party where you had to dress up as a figure, and Maya chose to go as one of the space one of the space guys from Toy Story, which I think is perfect. And they're waiting for their elevator to show up. Then down here, we've seen her before. She was in the last build, but she's also making a re-return as well. And this right here is Glenda and her dog, Max. I'm going to go ahead and flip this around and we can get a better picture. But Glenda and Max are leaving the city center and going towards their car. So I'm guessing, Glenda, you have a really cool looking electric car there. Very nice. Now, I think this camera is going to have a really hard time focusing on in there, so we'll get a picture from a different shot. But we have Becky right in front, and Becky brought her one and only bike. Always there, always works at a moment's notice. So there we go. And then we have our two little buddies up top who are looking around at everybody, our little birdie friends. And down here in the very back, which you can see from the inside of the elevator, is our rat friend enjoying a cookie that they got from the trash can. How dare they? But now, now the build is done. So let's take it over to where it needs to go. Look at how massive this build is. To get it into place safely without potentially having any issues, we're going to have to feed it from the front. Now, by the way, we are going to be redesigning. And when I say redesigning, it doesn't mean completely rescrapping what we currently have here. It's going to make sure, or well, we're going to be making sure that everything is modular, comes apart extremely easily so we can get access to the back or in the inside, even from the front, just in case for builds like this, where I choose to make things as big as possible. This is 3 base plates. I should have never made it this big, but you know what? No regrets because this thing is absolutely amazing. So, that being said, whenever we redesign all of this, it'll be mills plated and it's going to be sectioned in a way that we can easily remove it out of the way and then place the new piece behind it or so on and so forth. It's going to be very well designed. But look at that. Like a glove, it fits in there. Now, we did have a little bit of an issue. Our birds were up top. I completely forgot that this is pretty much all the way to the top. So we went ahead and placed the birds, one down here in the waiting area. And then the other one, that's a little bit of a fun story. We're going to have to flip it around and take some pictures from the other side so we can show you what that looks like. And there is our other bird buddy fighting with our ratty friend over the cookie. We thought that was perfect. It was that last minute story that we had to throw in there. Oh, there it is. There it is. Now, just a reminder, this is going to be mills plated up here, so it'll be the same exact height, and then we'll remove those brown tiles right there, or the light brownish tiles, and we'll go ahead and pave that off as normal. But this, again, this is the old, outside is the older build, that will change, and then we have the new redesigned Garage 2.0. But just look how that looks right there. That is so good. You can see the printing from there. Now, I went a little too low on this, so what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to remove this bottom brick here and then move this over to the center. It's a little bit off. And this right here will be a sign that says parking and all of that good stuff. So that'll be a future video. That will be a future video for us to go ahead and work on. And that'll let more light in here as well. Now, we are thinking about potentially putting some lights in the area, like the garage, and also in the back area where the Ninja Turtle build is at, and the secret build that's going to be kind of over here towards the center. Um, we're thinking about putting lights. We don't know what lights to go with. We don't want something that's super expensive. We're not going to light the entire city. We're only going to light those areas that require some form of light. So, that being said, let us know in the comments. Do you guys know of any light manufacturers for Lego that make something decent that's not overly priced and that's really nice? Please let us know in the comments because that's going to help us tremendously to go ahead and light that bottom part. So let's go ahead. I'm not trying to do any kind of crazy movements so that you guys get whiplash or any of that type of stuff or get sick or anything. So let's just keep going over here. And then we go down to this area right here and adjust this camera. Now this camera is probably going to have a real hard time focusing, but we have another camera that will take some shots of this a little later on because I'm pushing the time right now. But yeah, you can see all the way straight through, which is exactly what I wanted. And everything came out fantastic. It just needs a little bit of light. So we need to figure out that light situation, which we will. All right. Garage 2.0 is done. It's been rebuilt. It is now 100%. And now the next build that we're going to be messing with is going to be finishing the Ninja Turtle layer. We've had a lot of comments of people saying, can you get back to the Ninja Turtle layer? And it's like due process, right? It's like pieces and pieces at a time because we're waiting on parts and all of that good stuff. So we totally get it. We're excited about the Ninja Turtle build as well, but we are going to have a conversation about the Ninja Turtle build. Unfortunately, we have ran into a little bit of a problem and we need to discuss that problem. It's not something terrible. It kind of sucks. So that being said, if you enjoyed the content, do us a favor and go down there and hit it with a like. If you want to see how the rest of this city is going to progress, our Lego build, Lego reviews, hauls, just all of that good stuff, make sure that you subscribe to the channel if we have earned it. Let us know in the comment sections below, what do you think about the garage build? Garage build 2.0, in my opinion, is the best mock that I've made thus far. I am extremely proud of it. I absolutely love it. And who knows, maybe you will see it at a convention near you if it's in the States. If we decide to do maybe Brick World next year, maybe we take that. Maybe we do Brick Rodeo or something of that nature. That would be really cool. But let us know what you thought about it in the comment sections below. While you're out there looking for Lego, hunting for those perfect sets for you, be safe out there, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye!